What up, squad? It's your friendly neighborhood Robo-Riv, and for this episode of AONR Draws, I'm taking a drawing that I did in 2009 and revitalizing it, reimagining it for my coloring book, Metal Scorpio. So you'll get to see how I did the lines on this, and we'll take it another step further and put some color on it as well. So this original version that you're looking at right now was done just micron pen on Bristol board paper, and I scanned it in and did my colors via Photoshop. So this time around, we're going to do it all in Procreate. Also, don't forget to stick around for the end of this video. I'll have our options for the next character selection, the next what am I going to draw for a pinup fan art poll, whatever you want to call it. That poll will be in the community section in this YouTube channel, so check it out. Make sure you vote on who you'd like to see me draw next. Okay, to start, I wasn't sure exactly how close I wanted to stick to the original drawing for this one, so I went ahead and copied the original artwork into my document and just kind of started tracing over it, seeing what areas I might want it to change a little bit from how I originally had it. I know, like, in the original artwork, I made her legs hella long, so I wasn't necessarily trying to do that this time. So there were some things with the silhouette that I wanted to change, and also at this point in time, I hadn't quite figured out what I wanted the background to be. The original version, there wasn't really any background. That was during my era where I was just focusing like squarely on just the character, and wasn't doing a whole lot of background work. And if it was background, it was just some special tool or brush that I had in Photoshop that I wanted to play with. But this one, I knew that I wanted to have her in some sort of a setting. I just didn't know what at this point. So I was focusing on just the character design and movement, like how I wanted the movement to be in the picture, so it's just not so static. So I was playing around with the idea of these mechanical arms, kind of like, you know, fixing her little bits and parts as she's caught up in this web of glowing neon cords. And I just thought that would be kind of a cool visual, and maybe there's some cool lighting effects I could do with that. Also, originally, in the blue sketches I have around her, that was going to be other androids and maybe defected versions of her, just kind of lying around the factory. But I ended up abandoning that idea mostly for just time constraint reasons. I was doing the artwork for this Metal Scorpio, and I wanted to get it out there at a certain point. And on top of that, this is kind of the precursor drawing to another drawing in the book called Head Trip, and I thought it would be kind of cool to tie those two drawings together with the background, because in Head Trip there's it's basically the head of this vessel character. It's multiple different versions of that head just flying out, like they look like they had been ejected, and they're just kind of drones flying out in this futuristic city. And I thought it would be kind of cool to have sort of a window backdrop, like maybe instead of having so many of the robots covering things up, to create like windows and get a little glimpse of the outside world. And so I decided to do that instead. As the idea for this piece expanded, and I thought, man, I definitely want to color this. That was the next dilemma, because the original drawing just had a monotone, cool color palette, but I wanted to do something different with this one and have it feel a little bit more fleshed out. For these arms, for these kind of worker arms that are around her, I did look up some reference on Google to kind of see what different kind of mechanical arms look like, and that also informed later on the color palette of this, because I did want the arms to have that yellow, flat yellow kind of factory look to it, and it got me thinking about maybe even expanding that on her color, on her suit or the mechanical body that this character is. So I thought about that, and on the top there too, I got to do little cross hatchy marks, and some of that gets lost a little bit, but it in the final rendering, but I think it's effective enough to kind of, break up the background a little bit. So you'll see what I'm talking about once we get to that section. Not much else to say about the line work for this one. I just had a lot of fun doing it, and I hope to see your version of the colors for this piece. If you have a chance, check out Metal Scorpio. It's on the Black River Studio LLC.com website. It's on there if you want to order yourself a copy. It comes shipped directly from me, so you order yourself a copy, I get a notification, I get it all packaged up, ready to go, and send it straight to you. And if you end up coloring this particular page and you like what you did, and you want to share it with me, feel free to email me at blackriverstudio@gmail.com, or you can use the riversdraws@gmail.com email as well. Send it to me, and I will feature it either here on YouTube or on my social media accounts on Facebook or Instagram. I'll share your work, and hopefully it'll encourage other people to check out Metal Scorpio and do their own versions as well. I'd love to see it. That's, it's funny because I used to not love seeing other people's reinterpretations or their colors on my work, because I used to be such a picky colorist, and it's funny because I remember a point in time where I only liked to pencil. Like I didn't even like inking. I was just wanted to be a pencil artist, and times change, and I really fell in love with color once I got into Photoshop. I think that's what really got me. I started looking at things a lot differently and trying to notice how color is different in different locations, different situations, just really looking at my surroundings and trying to see how light and shadow plays with color. So yeah, I think that's normal. I think that's if you are in your just penciling phase or just line art phase right now, embrace it, and you might be surprised how things change for you later down the line. You might be into color, you might be into inking a little bit more. I still struggle with inking, to be real. I think my better inking is actually on Procreate than in using a brush pen or using my microns. I'm okay at it, but there's definitely far better inkers out there. But that's the whole point. It's not necessarily about, in art, it's not necessarily about being better. It's about just finding out what works for you. And that's kind of life in general, really. The way that you might put something together might not be the exact way this guy over here who's been putting together a shelf or a TV cabinet or whatever, like this guy might have been doing it 20 years more and has figured out different ways that works for him versus someone who might not have that same amount of experience but figures out a way that works for them, that is efficient for them. And as you draw more, as you practice more, you keep finding other things that may be more efficient for you. They might not even follow the quote unquote rules of of drawing, and that's kind of also where it's important that you know the rules before you break them. But I also think that little thing of maybe not knowing the rules but breaking them anyway, those things can be attributed to your quote unquote style as well. Because I've said it once, I'll say it again. I think style is just the things that you do incorrectly consistently that makes up your identifiable style. Getting on with the colors on this one, I had used my lines as turned into a reference layer and started color dumping and figuring out, okay, what am I gonna color this robotic cheesecakey model? What colors am I gonna put on her? And initially I was gonna do like a more of like that mustard yellow color all over, but I thought that might clash a little bit too much with the arms putting her together, so I ended up going for more of a silver and copper kind of look for her color pattern, and just started rendering it out from there. Just used my usual square hard brush to start rendering out the highlights and the shadows on the arms here, and also with knowing that I'm gonna kind of go back later and weather those things and give it some a little bit more roughness to it. So they look really clean right now, but I'll go back with some with a grays, different types of cool grays, and start chipping away at it, giving it that kind of more metal look to it. I knew I wanted those cylindrical shapes to be light, so went ahead and blocked that out and did a soft airbrush underneath the flat for that. And on top of that, with the between the windows, the more metal kind of thing, I used a brush called Rusted Decay that I believe is in my Rusty Nib set on Procreate, and used that for the texture. And so got the lighting down how I wanted it. It was a fairly simple piece to color. Really, it was just about trying to spot where I wanted my highlights to be. I put a layer on top of everything, like a blue, darker filter on top of everything once I had things looking how I wanted it to look, and used a soft green airbrush on top of my line art for that little glow there from the wires. And there's my blue filter, and this is the piece. And here she is, Vessel, the 2024 better drawn, way better colored version here, if I do say so myself. That was one of the things that I really enjoyed about this Metal Scorpio project, is the idea of going back into my digital art archives and taking a couple pieces that I kind of liked and improving on it and making it a little bit more of a better fleshed out idea than the first go at it. So I hope you enjoyed this whole making of video of this piece. If you really like it, check it out yourself. Color it yourself by getting your own copy of Metal Scorpio from BlackRiverStudioLLC.com. Subscribe to Art of Nick Rivers on all of the socials, all of the web things, from Facebook to Instagram to here on YouTube. Make sure you hit that bell notification too. That way you know when another video is threatening your inbox. Love you guys. Have a good rest of the day. Peace. As promised, here are the poll options for the next fan art pinup. Let me know what you'd like to see me draw next out of these options. You can vote by going to the community section on this very YouTube channel and casting your vote. I'm going to give you guys until Friday, December 20th to cast your vote.